Well, that's how you have an opening day, everybody. That's how you do it. Way to be, fellas. Way to be out there in South Philadelphia in front of the hometown crowd. Welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. Not going to lie, I was very excited yesterday. I got a text message from my buddy Bennett, lives up the street from me, and he was just like, you want to watch some opening day? And I said, absolutely. He goes, you want to go watch it at a bar? I go, you're damn right I do. And I was out the door for a little boozy opening day. And you know what? It's been a while since I had one of those. It was wonderful. And we, socially distanced outside the whole thing. And it was like the first real outside experience I've had, because it seems like everywhere else I go in the bar or restaurant, it's like you're eating still inside but outside. Like, I know the ventilation's better and all that, but whatever. I ain't complaining. And they had it on a nice big screen TV, and we're all sitting outside having a great time. It was awesome to take in opening day like that, and had a blast doing so. So, Bennett, thanks for the text, brother. But for the Phillies to win, and to win in the manner in which they did, is exactly what you wanted on opening day. You could have a 10-0 blowout, but where's the fun in that, right? No. That'll just give you a bunch of false hope for the rest of the season. You want to eke out a victory to start out a season in this NL East. That's what you want. So you got every ounce of that. You got 6 2/3 from your starting pitcher, only allowing 2 runs, although the 2 runs came up on an absolute bomb from the Kung Fu Panda himself, Pablo Sandoval, who crushed that into the right field upper deck. But throughout the game, great signs, great things to look forward to. And I think everyone, myself included, we all could just take a deep breath, sigh of relief that the Phillies bullpen came in and shut it down. I mean, there's a base loaded situation, but for the most part, shut it down. And that's just great. It was great. It was every ounce of wonderful. And you see Alec Boehm get up there driving the first run of the season on a sac fly to left field that scored Andrew McCutchen. You saw JT Realmuto go up there, get a couple of hits for you. You saw Rhys Hoskins get a double for you. And really, I just thought that it was just an exciting, fun way to start off the season. And here's the worst day. I always consider today to be the worst day in sports, because I'm a big baseball fan. And the day after opening day, the little built-in rain day, just in case there's a rain out on opening day, you don't have to mess with the schedule immediately. I hate today. Today is the worst day, especially after an exciting opening day where you just eke out the win and you get the win and all that stuff. A couple exciting plays. Didi Gregorius over the shoulder catch running out of the infield. The great throw from Roman Quinn. Great block from JT Realmuto to ice that game and make sure you can stay tied and go in the extra innings, that whole thing. And then Gene Segura to have the walk-off hit, obviously, to win the game for it was awesome. But after all that excitement, it's like, yeah, baseball, opening day, every day. That's what makes me feel so great. Great. Pause. Tomorrow. All right, here we go. Now we're back. I hated that. I've hated that for as long as I've lived. But anyway, that's nonetheless the state that we're in. And here's what I find really funny. Now, the Flyers don't play today. The Flyers play tomorrow. So that goes back to what Elaine Vigneault was saying about a day off and a day to practice as well. So 2 days right there. But wouldn't you know it? After the greatness that was opening day and enjoying it as much as I did, I'm like, you know what? I haven't really checked out what else is going on throughout the scene here in baseball. What else happened today? I'm curious. What did the other teams do? So I actually go over to ESPN, and I'm going into ESPN for opening day on baseball. I click on MLB, and and you know what the first thing I saw was? Do you know who apparently stole the show from Major League Baseball and opening day? Do you know what the lead story was on ESPN.com? Baseball, Major League Baseball. Do you know what stole the show? I'll give you a hint. He doesn't play for the Phillies. He doesn't manage for the Phillies. He actually is a tenant across the street, and he works for the Flyers. This is the guy that stole the show on ESPN.com yesterday on baseball's opening day. Gritty can rake. Gritty can flat out rake. He can throw seeds. He can throw heaters. The only thing I didn't see was actually see him throw a curveball or her throw a curveball. Gritty, I think, is the greatest athlete in Philadelphia. Absolutely, hands down. Gritty can throw a heater, can hit a heater. He was raking yesterday on the diamond. And I honestly was looking just to see what happened in the round baseball. And the first thing I see was Gritty on opening day. And I was like, proud in a way, right? I'm very proud. And the most talented athlete probably in the city of Philadelphia is a one Gritty NHL. So shout out to the Flyers for just absolutely nailing that one out of the park a couple of years ago with that. So finally found him extremely entertaining, to say the least. So that's what happened before the game. That's what a lot of people stole the show. A lot of people thought somebody else was stealing the show yesterday, and that man's name is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper in the Allen Iverson number 3. It's not a varsity jacket, whatever you call it, bomber jacket, walking into the ballpark like that. Amazing. Did not disappoint. Bryce Harper did not disappoint at all. And then I think he only upped the ante when he stepped onto the field with these yesterday. He couldn't play with these on, but I believe he stepped onto the field before the game with these bad boys on. The Fanatic Spikes, a huge upgrade from 2 years ago, the Fanatic Spikes that he had on. Actual Fanatic doll. I don't know. Implanted in? I don't know, whatever it is, but I need me a pair of those. Almost immediately, I need me a pair of those. If not for me, for my daughter, but probably most likely for me. Those are awesome. So Bryce Harper did not disappoint yesterday. Ran out to right field, as you would assume. Got the fans into it, and it was awesome to hear the fans back at Citizens Bank Park. And all respect to the world to the Fandemic crew from last year who hung out in far left field throughout the season last year. But there was a count. I want to say it was 2 outs in the first inning, and Aaron Nola is just looking to get out of the inning. And there was a pitch high and outside, and it was high and outside. It was a ball. You watched it on TV. It was clearly a ball. But to hear the fans boo the hell out of the umpire, I wanted. I didn't see who the home plate umpire was yesterday, but I wanted him to take off his face shield, his face mask, right? Not the actual mask that we wear for the pandemic and everything, but take off that and just wave to the crowd and just say, it's good to have you back. Like that. I wanted that moment to happen, but just to hear the fans again on a moment like that, it brought a smile to my face. It was wonderful. Everything I thought was handled perfectly yesterday. And probably, again, the biggest relief was just the bullpen, because the Phillies needed to find a way to win that game for our own souls here in Philadelphia, to give us that smile. And by the way, even more credit to the Phillies for having banners of first responders instead of having the opening day banners where you actually have players up around the stadium and all that stuff. They had the essential workers, the first responders up around the stadium. So I thought that was a great touch by the Phillies. Good hustle to you guys. Awesome. Well worth the thank you, obviously. But everything seemed like it was handled great yesterday. But I think for most people, they're in the same boat I am. You watch that bullpen come in after Aaron Nola pitched very well through 6 2/3. Like I said, that one mistake to Pablo Sandoval. And you saw the bullpen come in and just take care of business. If they got into a jam, they made sure they pitched their way out of it with a couple of big strikeouts, another 100-mile-per-hour pitch. You just saw them really battle throughout this game. And here's what's wild. We've been talking about this for a while now, ever since really Tim Kirchin mentioned it going into spring training, which was, this is the toughest division in baseball. All the pundits, they all look at it and go, you look at the NL East, this is the toughest division in baseball. And Joe Girardi after the game talked about how important it is, albeit a one-run game, how important it is for his team to realize they got to grind out games like this. And he said there was a touch-and-go moment where he thought this could make or break the team. And it was early on in the ball game. The Braves still had Fried on the hill, and Joe Girardi said this was the moment that he knew that the Phillies really were going to win this game, that they got to learn how to grind out wins like this. Here's Joe Girardi after the game.
Oh, I think it's really important because I think we're going to have a ton of these in our division. I really do. And kind of the thing that I noticed was Max Fried was at 41 pitches with 1 out in the 3rd inning and 2 strikes on Reese. And the next thing you know, we score another run, and he gets up to 60 pitches. So, I mean, he was really close to having a really quick inning, and Reese grinded out in a bat, and the rest of the guys grinded out in a bat. And I think it made a difference. And I think that's always important. And that's what we ask our offense to do, our defense, our pitchers. But there's going to be a lot of these this year. So we got to get used to them.
And here we are, getting used to them. It's going to be it's just one so far, but it's you only build on it from here. It's nice to build on a win as opposed to a loss, obviously. So a great win for the Phils. The off day today, back at it tomorrow. Zach Wheeler will be on the bump for the Phillies. Looking forward to that. A couple of other things that jumped out to me yesterday, and this is why. So Adam Hazley gets the start in center field. Awesome stuff, right? Gets even a play in the first inning. But then he pulls his groin or strains his groin. And he's day-to-day right now. That's what Joe Girardi said after the game. He's day-to-day. So Roman Quinn goes into center field. And Roman Quinn, probably right after everybody thinks injury-prone, they probably also think fast. And then right after that, they probably think does not have an arm. So Roman Quinn's out there in shallow center field yesterday. He makes the play on the ball with 1 out in the inning. Catches the ball in shallow center field. Who is it? Okuna on third base, or Albies on third base, and he hesitates going home. And Roman Quinn, for Roman Quinn standards, lets it fly. Just tries to gun that ball home. Bounces twice, and I'm thinking there's no way he's got him. But he threw that ball in the perfect spot. Let it go from shallow center field. Threw it in a soup can. And JT Realmuto, with a great tag applied, slides right into the base path along with Albies, I think it was, and makes the tag. Runners out. Phillies go on in extra innings to win the game. That was the perfect throw from Roman Quinn. The perfect throw. I'll ask you this question in our comments here. Hit us up, please. Who made the better play? Was it Roman Quinn's throw, or was it JT Realmuto's tag? Because my feeling personally was that, especially with the rules in baseball, and I heard Crucker say this on the broadcast, oh, man, I hope the Braves aren't arguing that he was blocking the base path. Well, he was certainly blocking the base path, but you can do that when the throw takes you into it. And there's no way he makes that play without that throw in that place at that time from Roman Quinn. And look, I don't believe we're going to get a lot of outfield assists from Roman Quinn, so I'm going to bask in that moment and just enjoy the win. I'm not going to look at the 2 hops. I'm not going to look at the fact that he was in shallow center field. I'm going to look at the ball was where it needed to be when it needed to be there, and they got the out. JT Realmuto, in my opinion, is still the best catcher in baseball. Not taking anything away from him, but I felt like a lot of people were talking about the tag that was applied, when I'm thinking, well, hold on, he's not making that tag unless that throw is perfect. And that's what it was yesterday from Roman Quinn. So who made the bigger play? Who made the better play? Roman Quinn or JT Realmuto? Let's split hairs on the first game, the first win of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. Couldn't be more excited about that. Coming up, by the way, in a little bit, we're going to talk to our friend Paul Hudrick. We're going to break down some Sixers. They had a game last night against Cleveland Cavaliers. I was worried about this game. And in the second half, they made me feel like an idiot, and I was glad to be an idiot. But for whatever reason, the Cleveland Cavaliers match up very well against the Sixers. They got quick guard play for whatever reason, and the Sixers don't know how to handle that. So yesterday you're watching the game, and in the first half, my nightmare is coming to fruition. Thinking they're battling them tough, they're going to make it close, and they're going to be right there at the end, and that's where we're going to be sweating it out. Not at all what happened in the second half. You even heard Doc Rivers come out after the game and say they packed in the paint and they made sure that their defense was solid. They made sure that they didn't allow the guards to cut. They didn't allow a huge three-point night for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They defensively locked down, and that was great. And that's everything that they did do in the second half. And then you also still saw Shake Milton take over this game and just go bonkers from beyond the arc. He was slashing as well. You saw Tyrese Maxey shoot with a lot of confidence. You saw that great dunk after the block from Dwight Howard, a great dunk from Matisse Thybulle. Like, you really just saw this team come together in the second half, offensively and defensively speaking. That was a welcome sight. Now, here's the good news, though. Aside from just winning that game last night by a huge margin, the Sixers now get back Joel Embiid. I think you're going to get him back for one game. against the Timberwolves on Saturday. That's what's out there already. And then it's a back-to-back. So you probably shut him down after. And then you got a 4-game road trip. So for all the fans that could be there to take in a game at the Wells Fargo Center, you're probably just going to get Joel Embiid for Saturday night. After that, on Sunday, he'll get the day off. And then he'll probably be back on the road trip ready to go for 4 games on the road. So at least we'll get him 1 game back for the people that are going to be going down there to try to watch him play some basketball. But the overall takeaway here is that they just went 9 games without Joel Embiid. They won 6 of those games. 4 of those victories come on the road. That's a great sign. And I know, and I'm the first person to say this, I hate the argument of, but I know we always go to it, I hate the argument of, oh, if you would have told me before the game that, or before Joel Embiid was out, that they're going to be without Joel Embiid, but they're still going to win 6 of 9, you're going to be happy. Yeah, sure, I am. But it doesn't erase how bad they played against the Jazz. It doesn't erase the fact that offensively speaking, Ben Simmons disappeared in 2 straight games. That does bother me, and I want to see him more. I want to see Ben Simmons step up more offensively as a scorer in these games, especially like against the Jazz. I would like to see him step up and play, and the Nuggets, against the Nuggets. Step up and play against the Nuggets in a much better fashion. So it doesn't erase it, and it certainly didn't erase it last night either. He had 13 boards, which is great, but I still want to see more from Ben. I want to see more consistency from Tobias Harris, who has been great. Seems like he hit a little bit of a wall at the end of this road trip. Hopefully he'll bounce back. But the bottom line is their superstar is coming back. Their main guy is coming back in Joel Embiid, and hopefully it's for the rest of the season with no other monkey wrenches thrown into this thing for the Sixers. So we're going to get into that even more so with our friend Paul Hudrick coming up in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to just a quick announcement. I will be on Fox 29 after the show wraps up today at 7:45. If you want to check that out. If you didn't have enough of me during this hour, there's a little bonus me at the a little bit later. So just keep an eye out for that on Good Day Philadelphia with my friends Alex Holly and Mike Jarek. Let me tell you about my other friend, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. So much to tell you about Steven Singer Jewelers. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com or go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut and realize that when you're going in to buy a diamond, you already have enough pressure on you. No need to go in there thinking about how you're going to negotiate, how you're going to try to talk down the price or anything like that, because everything is already set at Steven Singer Jewelers at the perfect price every single time. So when you go to IHateStevenSinger.com and you make an appointment on the appointment scheduler and you go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, they'll open the door for you. They'll walk you in, still adhering to all the CDC guidelines. They let you walk around and take a look at all the inventory. You sit down with a real jewelry expert and they let you look at everything. My wife, when she goes there, she checks out about 1,000 rings. And they let you know about everything. They give you the story on everything, but everything is set at the perfect price. So one thing that never enters your mind is, am I getting a deal? Because you're always getting a deal. Every single time, the perfect price guaranteed. You don't have to worry about what the guy next to you is paying. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just have to worry about what you want to buy and how it's going to look on the person you're buying it for. Even yourself, even if you're treating yourself, how it's going to look. That's what I do. I go to Steven Singer Jewelers because every single time I know I'm getting the perfect price. I send my friends there, my family there. I send you there, of course. So go to IHateStevenSinger.com, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Every time, the perfect price guaranteed at Steven Singer Jewelers. Coming up, we do have some hockey conversation that we're going to get to. We also have some more from the world of baseball. After I scrolled past Gritty hitting bombs, I did see one of the most crazy plays I've ever seen on an opening day. And I don't know if I'll ever see this again, but it happened yesterday. We'll get to it in our morning rush. As for right now, let's talk to our good friend, Paul Hudrick. We used to work together over at NBC Sports Philadelphia. Paul's now doing his own thing on the digital platform as well as 97.3 ESPN in Atlantic City. So Paul Hudrick joins us here on the Zatos Investments guest line. Joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line, our good friend from 93.7 ESPN, as well as the Coming In for a Landing podcast. Our good friend, Mr. Paul Hudrick, joins us. What's going on there, Paulie?
I'm just living the dream over here, Mark. How are you doing, man?
Oh, you too? You don't say. Well, let's talk about the dream for a second. And the dream is that unlike you, I will never be able to grow the top bun, the man bun. So how's that working out for you? It's really the number one reason I had you on the show. I saw you put out an Instagram thing, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, my boy's really doing that. So, all right, let's talk about it.
Yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason, Mark. My hair's getting long. It's in my face often. I got tired of wearing hats. They can sometimes cause my forehead to break out. This pulls the hair off of my forehead so that, it's nice and grease free. It's great. But yeah, it looks okay. Girlfriend hates it. But
these are all problems I haven't identified with in a while. And mom's okay with it?
Mom she probably hasn't actually seen it, but she'll hate it. Yeah.
Well, 100% she'll hate it. She's going to see it now. Paul, I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what I like to see, and that's Sixers winning basketball games without Joel Embiid. It's called a segue. So they go 6-3 without Joel Embiid. They go 4-2 on the road trip, obviously without Joel Embiid. So if you're telling me before all that happened, before they played, the day we found out that Joel Embiid wasn't going to play, you told me they'd be 3 games over 500. In general, I'm pretty happy about that. What say you about this run without JoJo?
100%. If you're not it's all about context, Mark, and it's all about looking at things in like the grand scheme and the picture of things. I know a lot of people were upset the other night they lose in Denver, but what I wanted to remind everybody of is, hey, if you win in Cleveland, it's 4-2 on a 6-game road trip, including 4 games on the West Coast. I mean, they got fair enough. They get a little lucky, in LA. They don't got to go up against LeBron and AD, but they face a pretty healthy Clippers team, a pretty healthy Nuggets team, and those games went that way. But yeah, I mean, you have to be over the moon about the fact that they went 4-2. Again, if someone told you that beforehand, you'd be thrilled because especially in the past, even dating back to earlier this season, the way they played without Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons, or even as Tobias Harris just, we just got done with him in the post-game presser. He said if anybody in the starting lineup was out, it felt like the world was like, it just felt like the world was going to end. We had no chance to win. And now it's like they don't even think about it that way. It's just they are so laser focused on winning basketball games and not feeling sorry for themselves when a guy is out. And that's served them very well recently with this stretch with them not having Joel Embiid. And now when he comes back, I think it only makes them better, and it just makes them a mentally stronger team. And they know when they do face adversity, they're going to be okay, and they still have a chance to win.
Now, I love the positive vibes that you're giving me right now, and we'll get back to those positive vibes in just 1 second. What's going on with Ben Simmons? I know the defense is always there, and I know the other intangibles and all that stuff, but scoring has basically been non-existent in the last 2 games. Obviously, it wasn't there for Denver. Said he needed to get his you-know-what together. He was all over the glass tonight, 13 boards, great. Last night, however, but now I'm looking at him offensively in terms of scoring without Joel Embiid, and it just hasn't been there the last couple of games. What's going on there?
I think he's rushing. I think he's rushing, and I think he's pressing. And Danny Green actually alluded to that in shoot around before the Cleveland game. He said that he feels like what Ben is doing is he's attacking the rim, which is great, but he's just kind of speeding himself up when he doesn't need to because he's so fast. Sometimes he plays 100 miles an hour and he doesn't kind of know how to change gears. And I think that's sort of what you're saying. Like when he was going really good right before the All-Star break, and when he's finishing really well around the rim and getting to the free throw line, you saw patience around the rim. You saw him under control going to the rim. There were at least, 3 or 4 plays against Cleveland where he kind of went up I don't want to say half-hearted because that's probably not the right term, but it just didn't look like he was fully sure of what he wanted to do. And then he just kind of threw something up, and you got to go to the rim with a plan a little bit. And I just think that's the biggest thing. I think maybe against Cleveland, it was the opposite. Maybe he was overthinking it. Whereas before in previous games, he wasn't thinking enough and it was leading to turnovers. I would say that was the biggest positive for me with him in the Cleveland game, as opposed to, the Denver game and games before it, the turnovers. He was really turning the ball over at a really high rate. And listen, I can live with poor shooting nights if he's not turning the ball over, because it's better. Missed shots are better than turnovers that lead to fast breaks going the other way. So I would say he just needs to be better. He just needs to be a little bit better around the rim, needs to be a little bit more patient and understand that he doesn't have to go 100 miles an hour on every single play. And I think Joel Embiid coming back will take a little pressure off of him for sure. It'll take pressure off everybody, realistically. But yeah, it's concerning, Mark. He hasn't been very good. But like I said, the positive from the Cleveland game is the reduction in turnovers. That'll be huge. And hopefully he kind of gets that sorted out around the rim and kind of finishes strong here.
Certainly. So let's talk about Joel Embiid then coming back and go back to some of the more positive vibes. I know it was touched on a little bit with Doc Rivers after the Cleveland game, but with Doc Rivers talking about Joel Embiid coming back, minute restrictions, full go, what can we expect to see from him going up against the Timberwolves?
I don't know if it'll be a full-on minutes restriction. There might be something. It's not going to be, and Doc Rivers even kind of alluded to this, it's not going to be set by him. It's going to be set by the athletic training staff, the sports science department. Those are going to be the people that are going to kind of put that together and know kind of the right amount. So if there is a minutes restriction, Doc Rivers is not going to tell us what it is. He may not even know what it is at this moment. He might not find out kind of until right before the game, but they're going to be careful. And it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know they've been playing better. I know Chris Finch has done a nice job there. I know Cat has been playing much better. I know the rookie, the number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards, has been excellent recently. I think he just won Rookie of the Month, actually. So they've been better, but that's still not a good basketball team. That is a team you should not need 30-plus minutes of Joel Embiid to beat. So hopefully they do what they did against Cleveland, and that's not even a factor. Hopefully Joel Embiid gets like 20 minutes or so in, and he doesn't have to play in the fourth quarter because they've taken the game over. That's ideal. That's not necessarily what will happen. So I would expect, they're certainly not going to put him out there for too long. Plus, it's a back-to-back, Mark. That's the other thing. Right. Was he going to play in both games? I'm not sure. Doc Rivers also said that he doesn't want him kind of yo-yoing in and out of the lineup. So it would be weird for him not to play in the back-to-back right after Doc Rivers had said that. So I don't know if the plan is to use him in both games. If that's the case, then certainly you're going to want to not overextend him in either game.
Whatever helps me not see Mike Scott play center. Whatever helps me not have to see that ever again and hurt my pretty little eyes. I just hope I never have to see that again. So, Paul, let's talk about what happened with Shake Milton. Off the bench for the 76ers. Just goes bonkers against the Cavaliers. And this is the guy that, I don't know, maybe has a little bit of a fire lit under him. I mean, he was part of the second unit that helped a big surge in the game you mentioned against the Denver Nuggets. You obviously have George Hill sooner rather than later going to be joining this lineup coming off the bench for the second unit as well. So is that a little bit of a fire under Shake Milton to get things going for himself before things change over a little bit with that bench team?
I'm not sure it affects Shake's one of those guys that just nothing seems to bother him. And that's kind of what I've always liked about him from when he first got here. Never gets high, never gets low. He's kind of always right here. And I know that's what, even like Brett Brown, that was what he always praised him for, is just that he is always leveled. He's never too amped up, never lets the lows get to him too much, and never kind of feeds into his own hype. And he even said that after the Cleveland game. He said, because the reality is he hasn't shot the three ball well this year. He was at like 31%, I think, coming into the game. And he shot the hell out of the ball tonight. He was 4 or 5, 4 or 6, I think, from three. So that was huge. And to see him do that is big for his confidence. But even him after the game was like, nothing special. I've been taking more reps after practice. Ball's going in. And that's it. And that's kind of the way Shake's mind works. So I don't know that it's anything with him that's like a motivational thing or a fire thing. I think he's just playing better. And I think all year, you have to give him credit throughout the course of the year. Yes, the three ball hasn't gone, but he's done a much better job of just kind of getting to his spots on the floor and getting good looks and creating, which is something he necessarily didn't do last year. So to see that, the shot is going to come because he's got a track record. He shot the ball extremely well at SMU. He shot the ball extremely well in the G League. He shot the ball extremely well in his NBA career up until this year. So I would bet more on this version of Shake Milton that's hitting shots to be there more consistently down the stretch. And I think George Hill, if anything, Mark, I think George Hill is going to help that, because I think George Hill is going to take some of the pressure off of Shake Milton, some of those ball handling roles, some of those, quote unquote, point guard duties. George Hill will take over some of that. And I think that'll free Shake up to be more of a scorer and to attack more.
Yeah, I love that idea of him being more of a traditional shooting guard as opposed to a traditional point guard. So you're thinking, and I like this line of thinking, that George Hill will be more or less running that second unit and Shake Milton will become the scorer off that second unit.
Sure. And I think you've seen at times when it's Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey, even in the game together, they'll kind of share that. And I think, but that's good. Like there's I know it's weird for Sixers fans because you're not all used to seeing multiple guys who can handle a dribble a basketball at the same time and pass a basketball all playing together. It's weird, but other teams do it and it actually works pretty well. So I could see that being a really good thing for the Sixers to have those options. And that's the other thing, Marcus. I think it's just the options it gives Doc Rivers to be able to do different things with lineups. A night like tonight where Shake Milton is on fire. Close the game with Shake Milton. Maybe Danny Green is having an off night, so you close with Shake and Danny sits on the bench. Or maybe Seth Curry's having a tough night. Well, you go to George Hill to give you a little bit more defense. I think that optionality is going to be huge for Doc Rivers, especially in the playoffs. The more ball handlers, the better for this team because it's an area where they are sorely lacking.
Yeah, the optionality will never not make me think of Sam Hinkie. When it comes to not just scoring on this team, but it comes to their defensive, not issues, but it seemed like last night against the Cavs, they were packing the lane more. And I think it was even your question to Doc Rivers. It was something that they wanted to work on. What can you tell us about Doc Rivers' answer in terms of what they were trying to adjust to defensively speaking after the game against the Nuggets?
Right. I think it goes back for the Cleveland game. I think it goes back to the matchups prior against Cleveland where Sexton and Garland really killed them. And the clear strategy, and Doc Rivers said, was wall the paint, show them 5 guys because that's where they're going to do their damage. They're not Garland can get hot, Sexton, they could both get hot from 3, but that's not their strength. And that's not what they want to do. They want to get into the paint and they either want to make easy baskets for their teammates or they want to finish at the rim. So when you're kind of walling that off, and even the mid-range, they are both very good in the mid-range. So you don't want to let them just kind of feast in that area. You want to, if they're going to take twos, you want them to be very long twos and to try to make them as contested as possible. Doc Rivers also talked about their switching, which I thought was a lot cleaner. That is communication, really. That's the big thing there. It's communicating. And I thought their help defense was significantly better. Maybe some of the best help defense they've shown all season long. And to your point about like the Denver game, that was both of those aspects were pretty much non-existent. They weren't switching very well. They weren't helping very well. So that was like night and day difference between the Denver game and the Cleveland game. And it's super encouraging. And this team's going to be able to defend. I have zero fears about them in the playoffs being able to defend at a high level. It's the other end of the floor that concerns me much more. So, maybe they'll have an off defensive night here or there, but I think that is where they're going to have to hang their hat if they want to go as far as they expect to go.
Want to move on and talk about some other teams here, most notably the Nets. So we mentioned George Hill. That was the big acquisition, more or less, at the trade deadline for the 76ers. And then you look over at the Nets, and they were already loaded, and they've only got more loaded as this year has gone on, whether that be whether that be James Harden joining the team a couple of weeks into the season, was it? Then who else? Then after that, it was obviously bringing in Blake Griffin, and they just keep on making moves. Have the Nets gotten to a point where just on paper they're blowing the Sixers out of the water, or if they do meet in the Eastern Conference Final, the Sixers will at least give them a run for their money?
I think to say that they would get blown out of the water is probably exaggerating.
Okay, good.
Listen, I'm not a betting man, but if I were a betting man, I would be putting my money on the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, flat out, just because of all that firepower they have, that's going to be really tough to stop for anybody. With that said, the Sixers probably stand as good a chance. Them and the Milwaukee Bucks are actually kind of best suited to play that team because of the way they match up defensively.
Yeah.
And the addition of George Hill only helps you again because he is such a good all-around player, especially on the defensive end. He is a good defender, and he could guard Kyrie Irving or James Harden and probably do it at a fairly high level. So to have another option to go to, I think is huge because you're going to need multiple options, Mark. There's injuries, there's foul trouble, flat out fatigue, just being able to show those 3 guys, when you're talking about Kyrie, Harden, and Durant, showing them different looks is no small thing just to kind of get them to different things. And you're also going to have to, we've all seen how, a 7-game playoff series works. You have to adjust every single night. You have to change things up. And you can't just show these guys the same thing every single night. So maybe Ben Simmons starts on Durant and he winds up on Harden. You know what I mean? Like these things are going to change throughout a playoff series. So, I think the Sixers match up decently. They match up as well as anyone. I think they would give the Nets a series. But again, if I had to pick who I think would win that series right now, I would say the Brooklyn Nets.
All right, as long as I hear they're going to be in a series with the Nets, conference finals, and they won't get blown out, I'm in. That's just give me that at least right now. Get past the second round of the playoffs, something we haven't seen since the Iverson era, getting out of the second round of the
Correct.
playoffs. All right, 9 games without Joel Embiid. We mentioned 6-3 without JoJo. Now, Ben has had flashes of looking like a guy that can carry the team. Tobias Harris certainly did. Then Shake Milton does what he did against the Cavs. What was the most impressive thing you learned about this team, or at least saw in this team in the last 9 games without Embiid?
I would say just the chemistry and the maturity level. It's so much higher than it's really been in recent years. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think Doc Rivers is certainly gets a big part of that credit. I think what Doc is very good at, and I think it's something, Mark, that I talked to you like the first time you had me on, was the idea that Doc is very good at criticizing in private, praising in public. I think he's very good at that. And I think that's something that's gone a long way with his players. And he sticks up for guys very often, like Ben Simmons, but he's good at sticking up for Ben Simmons without kind of making excuses for him, if that makes sense too. So I think Doc Rivers is a huge part of that. And then I think it's the players themselves. Danny Green, I think, has been such a big influence. I mean, since the All-Star break, he's also happened to be playing some great basketball too. But I just think, a guy who's won 3 rings, like when I look back on the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons era, how many guys have they had that have actually won championships, let alone multiple championships? Right. I mean, you're looking at like guys like James Michael McAdoo and like Tiago Splitter. Like those are the championship guys that they have played with so far. So to get a guy like a Danny Green, who's not only won 3 rings, but has actually been an active participant on all 3 of those championship teams and played with great coaches, great players, bringing that here, I think has been enormous. And I think, and you also have to give credit to the guys who were already here who have grown. Joel Embiid has clearly grown as a leader. Tobias Harris, I think, has grown and improved as a leader and a player. Even Ben Simmons, I get it. He's struggling. He's admitted, though, Mark, that he is struggling. And I think that's a big leap for him because in years past, it was the other night, you already referenced it after the Denver game. You said, I need to get my S together. He was asked point blank, like, why are you struggling, pretty much? And in years past, he probably would have gotten kind of indignant about that and probably given a smart aleck answer. But he said, like, I have to be better. And I think that those little things, I think, are really good steps in the right direction. At this team, there is just a maturity level and a chemistry that just I don't think was there in the last couple of years.
He's probably thinking I need Paul Hudrick to grow a man bun, and then I could get my what together. It's probably so you're doing it for the good of man, if you ask me.
Sure.
Now you're wearing an Eagles shirt, real quick. In or out on the Eagles moving back to 12?
Oh man, I'm so conflicted, dude. I really am. No, I am. Listen,
stupid.
Listen,
don't do that.
I love Jamar Chase, and I don't think he's going to be there. I love Kyle Pitts, and he also might not be there. So if you can move back, and you still might be able to you still might have really good options at 12, Mark. When you look at if it's Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Surtain Jr., J.C. Horn. I mean, there are going to be some good players to choose from at 12. Now, I think that's what it's going to depend on, Mark. I want to see what they do before I really give my full-on judgment because let's be realistic about Howie Roseman's draft history. Not so great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll kind of see which way they go there. But it's going to be tough if at 6 the Dolphins are choosing between Chase and Pitts. Yeah, I might grab a pitchfork if that happens.
Well, it's unfortunate, but per sources, everyone after 11 is going to suck. I'm just going to let you know. That's just what I've heard. Everyone's going to suck.
And pick 6 is a Hall of Famer.
There you go. Exactly. There you go. Paul Hudrick, thank you so much. 93.7
97.3
ESPN. 97.3 ESPN. Thank you so much for being on with us. Also coming in for a landing podcast as well. Paulie, always a pleasure, brother. Say hi to your sweet mother for me.
Will do, Mark. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, bud. Have a good one. Paul Hudrick joining us here, 97.3 ESPN, and coming in for a landing podcast on the Zatos Investments guest line. See you, Paul. Once again, my thanks to our friend Paul Hudrick joining us there, 97.3 ESPN, and coming in for a landing podcast. Joining us there on the Zatos Investments guest line. I see the comments rolling in. Excuse me. And they're brilliant. They're all brilliant. Can't wait to get to those. But first, I got to tell you about the great people at DraftKings Sportsbook. What do we got coming up? We got those four teams. The last remaining of the four teams. If there was a catchy name I could use right now to describe those four teams. But anyway, getting into all the action. It started with 68 teams. Now it's down to those last four. Legal stuff is fun. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers to the test. And in the center of the action, if you bet $1 on any tournament game and your team wins, you win $100. 100 to 1 odds. You win $100 on a dollar bet, people. Pick any college basketball team that's still in the hunt for your shot to win $100. No better way to put your college basketball knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't worry if college basketball isn't for you. DraftKings Sportsbook offers daily odds boosts on pro basketball as well as hockey, golf, and so much more. DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 when using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And you pick a college basketball team to win at 100 to 1 odds. That's promo code Farzy. Turn $1 into $100 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about Steak and Maine? You got a holiday weekend going on here. If you're, want to go down and check out Northeast Maryland, check out Steak and Maine, steakandmaine.com. They got special hours going on for Easter Sunday brunch for anyone that wants to take advantage of that. Whether you like to dine in a more upscale steakhouse or a casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All of that at Steak and Maine. And you also get an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. My buddy Tony Cavada runs the place. You got to check it out and get this great wine that they have there as well. From their family to yours, basically. Open every day for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch, especially for Easter. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. I think they know a thing or two about food. Check it out for yourself and go to steakandmaine.com for more information. How about this? The FanUp app. I'm getting all sorts of challenges from you great people. Keep them coming. Keep them coming on FanUp. You can find me there. You could also win money. You could rise on the leaderboard with their point system. You could win brand prizes as well. You've heard me mention the pair of Jordans, the memorabilia, the Louis Vuitton bag. Ladies and gentlemen, they have great stuff at FanUp. So make sure you go to the FanUp app in the App Store, download it, and let the games begin. The days of playing fantasy sports alone are over. You could enter FanUp super fun daily and weekly contests and also answer fun questions to rise on that leaderboard. Squad up with your friends. I'm doing it with mine. It is an absolute blast. It's fun, easy, and really the only place you could win those hot brand prizes. You could be the real MVP any day, any week, any season. You could be the real MVP. Download the FanUp app in the App Store. Use promo code FANUP to get 2,000 bonus points. That's FanUp. May the best fan win. Now, as promised, let's get to our social media check-in, brought to you by our good friends at Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. These were great. Ken, 162-0. Damn right. Phillies 162-0. All right. I believe this has to do with me going out with my buddy Bennett and getting some beers to watch opening day. I don't think I've talked too much about it on this show. But I know in my linear life, in radio, TV, I've talked about it. I don't have cats. My wife has cats. All right. I have cat roommates that don't respect my space. But he says, no need to explain, Mark. You were able to watch a game and drink a beer without your cats around you for the first time in over a year. Okay. Everything about that is accurate except for the "your" in front of cats. I don't have cats. My wife does. I just live amongst them. Can Gritty play defense for the Flyers? Michael is asking that question. Would love to see it. Hell of an athlete. Why not give him a go? By the way, it was Rob asking the question about making a statement about the Cats. Yeah. Mally's checking in. What's up? Always good to hear from you, Mally. Thomas, double standard. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, Who else do we have here? Clever, check it out. NL East greater than NFC East. Can confirm. Taylor's also chiming in on that as well, saying that his son's Pee Wee Football League is also better than the NFC East. Absolutely. Quinn. Okay, here we go. Mally's checking in on Quinn's throw. With the bullet from center field, it was a perfect throw. You're damn right it was a perfect throw. It bounced twice, but who the hell cares? As I said earlier, he threw that thing in a soup can. He doesn't make that throw, doesn't put it right there at that time. Guess what? The Phillies might not win that game. What else do we have here? No JT block without that throw. Exactly. Thank you very much. You're not making that play unless the ball is there. As I explained earlier, the rules of baseball now, you can't block the runner. You can't block home plate unless the throw takes you into the base paths. Here's where I will give 1,000% credit to JT Realmuto for this. That's hard concentrating on that ball when the runner's coming in and you don't know when impact is happening. Great concentration by JT Realmuto to catch that ball. I only expect that from the best catcher in baseball, and he allowed the throw to take him into the base paths, which is a smart heads-up play. Good hustle to him. JD's chiming in. Anyone else notice how Mark is always talking about Paul's mama? Paul's mama's a saint, okay? You bite your tongue, sir. Paul's mom is a saint. What else do we have here? Options for the Eagles to pick there. That's inside the birds. What's up, boys? Always good to hear from you. To be fair, this is Mac. To be fair, the Nets are as organically and naturally built as Lisa Ann. Not saying anything is wrong with that. Still does the trick, but not the same as homegrown natural beauty. Thank you, Mac. You know, we're gonna have to get Lisa Ann on the show, maybe to help us with our fantasy sports, because she's a fantasy football expert. I don't know if you're aware of this. We'll have to get her on the show at some point. Broads, my man, checking in. We're doing a watch party soon on stream. It's what the kids are doing these days. Trust me. I'm down. Whatever. If Broads is in, I'm in, man. I like to party with that guy. As long as you wear a bandana, Broads. That's the only way I like to do those things. Anyway, thank you for everyone that checked in on. So, we did put out a Twitter poll today regarding who made the best play. Was it JT Realmuto? Or was it Roman Quinn with the throw? And try to see if I can't get you some instant results here on everything we got going on today. Who made the bigger throw? I will find this for you, and we will give you the goods. Here you go. Who made the bigger throw? Who made the bigger play? JT Realmuto blocking the play, or Roman Quinn with his throw? 62% on my personal poll. Going JT Realmuto actually made the bigger play. Let's see if we can't find what it is on the show page. Show page. Oh, it is the same. No, it's not. Sorry. Oh, JT Realmuto still winning that one as well. So a lot of credit to JT Realmuto. Still think the bigger play is from Roman Quinn. Put the ball where it needed to be when it needed to be there, folks. Thanks to everyone that checked in on social media during our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak in Maine and steakinmaine.com. Let's move it on ahead now to our Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Car for every budget. Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Taking care of a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as some just good old-fashioned people in the neighborhood as well. Here we go. Here you go, your Morning Rush. This is the play I mentioned earlier. I can't show it to you because it's too much Major League Baseball. I don't own them, so I can't show you all the highlights. But here you go. Did you see Miguel Cabrera yesterday in Detroit? Well, first off, did you see Detroit yesterday during opening day? When Miguel Cabrera came to the plate, it looked like it was a blizzard going on. It was snowing heavily in Detroit. Side note, if you ever get a chance to go to that stadium in Detroit, it's amazing. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love that place. But anyway, Miguel Cabrera steps up to the plate. Looks like a blizzard. Hits a long fly ball to deep right field. He loses it in the snow. He's trying to track the ball flying out there. The ball that he hit is flying out there to right field. And he doesn't know what happened to it. So he's running around the bases, gets to second, slides into second base. Guess what? Newsflash, it was a home run. He slides into second base because he lost track of the ball in the snow. Pops up, looks at the umpire, puts his finger in the air and twirls it like, hey, home run? Ump's like, yeah, man. He finishes his home run trot. I have never seen anything like that. It was crazy. Crazy play yesterday in opening day. Also in basketball, the Nets did beat the Hornets 111-89. The Nets are now in first place by a half game over your 10-9-8 76ers. First time that's happened in quite a long time. Flyers and Cam York. This is interesting. I just have this sneaky suspicion that Cam York is going to be here in maybe a month. Like, I just have this really weird feeling with all the things going on. If the Flyers don't somehow right this ship, Cam York, and even if they do, even if they start playing a lot better and they start, winning, 2 games for every one they lose, I don't know, and then marginally playing a lot better, I don't know. But even if they start playing better, I think you're going to see Cam York up here in a month. I just have the sneaky suspicion right now. It really doesn't have anything to do with Shane Gostisbehere being put on the taxi squad. I mean, I guess in a way it does, but it's not like an immediate reaction. It's not like they signed him and he's up. He's going to get the minor league play. He's going to get his feet wet and then his skates cold, I guess. And then they're going to bring him up to the NHL level. But I think he's going to be up here rather soon. I think it's going to be an expedited process. Let's put it that way for a guy who's got a couple of years of college under his belt as well. Todd McShay broke my brain yesterday. I believe this is his 4.0. This is his 4th version of his mock draft. And yesterday, Todd McShay brought this out. Micah Parsons, and I believe this was I think this was part of his original draft, if I'm not mistaken. It was either him or Mel Kuypers that had Parsons going to the Eagles earlier in the draft. So I guess this is the first one that's come out since the Eagles are back at 12. But I saw this and I thought, as Eagles fans, this would break all our brains because we have been just had this hankering for a linebacker, for the Eagles to invest in a linebacker, a middle linebacker, bone-crushing linebacker. And this would break our brains because not only would they be doing that high in the draft, they'd be doing it with a 12th overall pick, and they'd be doing it with a guy from a place they literally call linebacker U. I would look at it like a dog that was confused. Like, I'd be like, huh? Wait, huh? And I mean, I still want them to be at 6. It's not happening. Obviously, they traded back. I think a lot of Eagles fans wouldn't know how to feel about that pick. I think they'd be pissed off they still didn't get Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase or even Devontae Smith at that spot. But I think they'd be excited to get a linebacker, finally, somebody of some note playing in the middle of your linebacking core. And then later in his mock draft, he also had the Eagles taking a wide receiver out of Minnesota. What's his name? Rashad Bateman. I almost called him Rashad Bailey. Rashad Bateman, and he's 6 foot wide receiver out of Minnesota, 4.39 speed, so just in there in the 4.3 mark right there. Like, that's just the prototypical guy that they seem to be after anyway. They want those speed guys, the Jalen Reagor guys. I thought it would be nice to have one monster, catching passes for you, but what the hell do I know? Here's what I do know. Eagles are going to screw this up somehow magically, but Todd McShay had them going with a linebacker at number 12, and then in the second round with their first pick in the second round, they'd be taking a speedy wide receiver yet again. So, as always, for the next, what do we have here, 26 days? We're going to be saying, well, we'll see when they actually end up making the pick. So we will see when they actually end up making the pick. And how about this little piece of news from college basketball? Roy Williams retiring, 33 years as a head coach, 3 national titles. One of the greatest coaches college basketball history, coached at amazing programs, Kansas being one of them, and obviously UNC is alma mater. Just like, I just think of him as like a high-class individual. And obviously a lot of success. I thought it spoke a lot with, I think it was Danny Green and Tyler Hansborough and a lot of those guys, a lot of those guys on that championship team that decided to come back to run it back under Roy Williams. I thought that spoke volumes for him as a head coach back when that happened some years ago now. But credit to him on a great career and all that. And I'm not the biggest college basketball fan in the world. I follow my Temple Owls. I peek in at everything else along the season, and then I obviously watch the NCAA tournament. But it's just one of those guys that you just always associate with college basketball, calling it a career. Thought it was odd that it was at the end of this season, in particular with how weird this season was, how this was, the first NCAA tournament ever with no team from North Carolina? Just insane. But congratulations on a great career to Roy Williams, formerly now of UNC. Well, he's an alma mater, so it's always from UNC. But congrats on one hell of a career from Roy Williams. Final thing. I missed this. So I'll show this one more time just to set it up better. These are Bryce Harper's spikes, I believe, from batting practice yesterday. Obviously, he didn't wear them in the game, but I want to find this one comment that somebody wrote on here. when it came to these spikes. Oh, Thomas, thank you for checking in. Thomas, I believe this is said like this. I wear stuffed animals as clothing. The police knock on my door and call me a creep. Bryce Harper does it, and it's cool. File it under the many things Bryce Harper can do that we can't do. So we'll just file it right under there. Big bet segment. I'm terrible. I suck. So I'm not even going to give you a bet today. I lost the one yesterday. I've had a crappy week when it comes to bets. Selfishly, I had a good Monday where I salvaged a bet by going out there and betting a later game. So good for me for that. But other than that, it was my only win of the week. So I'm not even going to ruin your bet with any input from me, ladies and gentlemen. Final four, UNC Gonzaga, do what you will. And then you also have who else you have? You have Houston and you have Baylor going up against each other in the 2 and the 1 and Battle of Texas, as you say there. I still like the Zags, although I did fall in love with UNC throughout this run. I love their style of play. I still think that the Zags are way too much to handle for them, and I think they win that game comfortably. But then looking at the other game, Baylor, I think, is just going to manhandle Houston. So I am going chalk. I'm going with the 1 versus the 1 in the championship game. That'll be the final matchup of the season. Going up with Baylor against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The thing that I like about Houston, though, that's underrated is their rebounding. And if they can own the glass and they could get more possessions than Baylor, they'll have a shot at winning this game. They have just been dominant on the glass. They were a top 10 team in rebounds throughout the regular season. And they're going to need to rely on every ounce of that aggressiveness going up against Baylor. But I believe you're going to have Baylor, Gonzaga. Sorry for chalk. I know it's boring. That's who I see winning, coming out on top from this Final Four. Enjoy the rest. Enjoy your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Had a blast with you as always on the show. We'll be back with you Monday. Got a lot of football conversation I'm sure we're going to get to, and we'll also recap what happened with Joel Embiid and his return, as well as what happened in this Final Four, and hopefully a couple more Phillies victories as well. And also, let's not forget, hopefully the Sixers being back in first place by the time we talk to you on Monday. Again, have a wonderful weekend. For those that celebrate Easter, have a great Easter. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday. Take it easy.